Hello everyone, welcome to my little video. So today's video is gonna be super short. I decided to record my client's little design because I do have a lot of followers who struggle a lot with encapsulated design. So I wanted to pretty much dedicate a video to just this. So if you're new to my little channel, make sure to subscribe to my little channel. Give me a little thumbs up and leave me a little comment of what you learned, if you learned something from my video, and what was your favorite part or whatever you want. Just say hi. So pretty much right here, I'm just using my number 52 acrylic. And the number one thing when you're doing any type of encapsulated designs is you need to apply very thin. So because I know that I'm gonna be doing this, like the encapsulating, I am using a smaller brush. This is my number 12, and pretty much if you use a larger brush, you're gonna pick up more liquid, more acrylic, meaning a thicker base. So I normally use a smaller brush so that I can achieve the really thin application. And the reason for this is because if you apply too thick of a base and then you put your little decor, like my little hearts that I have here, once I have to encapsulate it, that means the nail is already kind of thick, plus your decorations is like a little sandwich, and then the clear. So when it's time for filing, most likely you will shave into your decorations. On the ring finger, I decided to do a 3D rose because she really liked the nails that I did on Mimi. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna want those two designs. I'm like, okay, girlfriend. And the thing with 3D flowers, if you're encapsulating them, you need to make sure they're pretty flat because you don't want your nail to be like super thick. So make sure that you do flatten down the petals a little bit more than usual. So right here you could see that they're pretty thin, and at the end when I'm done with the flower, you still see that it's pretty 3D. It's not like a little pancake because you still want it to have its little texture with the different layers of the petals. So if you make it too flat, then it's just gonna look like a little blob. And whenever I'm using darker colors for 3D, I like to incorporate a different color. So for this flower, I decided to use the same nude pink that I used on the pinky and the other fingers. This nude is from Tammy Taylor and it's called P3. I like it a lot because it's like a nice neutral pink and it's kind of transparent but not really. So I just felt like that would make the flower look more like a flower rather than un pinche pegoste en la uña. So that's what I did. And so right here on the first rose that I did, you could kind of still see like, ooh, girl, it's a little florecita, you know? But if I were to turn the finger sideways, you can see that it's still really flat. So it's perfect. So rule number one, keep it flat, keep it thin, the application. Rule number two, there's not really rules, but that's something to consider. Don't put anything around the cuticle that will get filed off. So as you can tell right here, I'm pretty much keeping the decorations towards the center of the nail, or pretty much away from the cuticle area, because this area is normally the thickest anyway, around the apex area. It's perfect for like adding your decorations because regardless, it has to be thicker than the cuticle and the tip. So just keep that in mind. Don't put like anything super thick around the cuticle or the tip, or your nail is not gonna look properly shaped towards the end. And I did apply a very thin coat of clear acrylic as well, just in case. I feel like I have to mention that because I don't want you guys to think that I just put glitter on the natural nail. That will cause lifting in my experiences. So I just put clear acrylic, and right here I put a little glitter in the center of the flower so that it looked like sparkly and like a little diamond. And so right here I'm going to encapsulate, and Another thing that you need to keep in mind when you're doing encapsulated nails is you want to work with your product a little bit wetter than usual. So don't try to, personally, I don't really try to do one ball methods when I'm doing encapsulating or anything like that, because by the time you drag it down, most of the time the bead is already more on the dry side, so it could cause bubbles or like white little patches where the clear acrylic dries. So personally, I don't really like to do that. I like to add multiple beads, even if it takes me a little bit longer, and work a little bit wetter. So right here, I felt like the nail needed a little bit more because I don't really like to have flat ass nails. I need them with a little curve. So I go ahead and add a little bit more as needed in the apex area. And for the flowers, whenever you do have 3D flowers, try your best to apply your bead away from like directly on top of the flower. So my first bead was in between both flowers. By you adding it directly on top, it will just make the nail a little bit more lumpy, and so I don't really recommend it. But if you do end up doing like a whole nail full of flowers or whatever, just make sure that your acrylic is more on the wet side, like I mentioned earlier, so that it just kind of like slides into the little cracks or of the petals or underneath the flower, around it, and there's no air bubbles. So that's pretty much it for this little video. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful or you know it all and you already knew it. Nice. Before filing. Yes, honey. Look at the little C curve. A ver, Maria. Show me your after filing. Estoy como el que hace las